Hello, I want to just introduce two different types of adult-led activities. Let's call it set time and let's call it flow in and flow out. And essentially, in early years, when an adult leads an activity with a group of children, they will do it in one of these two ways. Either a set time activity, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that, or a flow in, flow out activity, and I will also explain what I mean by that. So let's start with a set time activity. This activity takes place at a set time and is for a set period of time, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. The most classic example of a set time activity is something like circle time, where you sit down with a group of children for the morning meeting or the circle time meeting, and the circle time has a beginning where you would sing the welcome songs or the circle time songs, the middle where there's some kind of teaching topic happening, or magic box, or whatever the content of your circle time is, and then the close down, the round off. So circle time is a classic example where all the children in the class, or part of the children in the class who are taking part in circle time, and the children take part for the entire period. There's a beginning, a middle and an end to the activity, and it may be whole class or whole group teaching like circle time, and this can be from very, very young children to much older children, or it could be an activity at a table or in the garden, but it's an activity that has a start, a middle and an end. So for example, in the garden it might be an obstacle course where a practitioner has planned an obstacle course with the children. Maybe the introduction is they gather together a group of 8 children that want to take part in the obstacle course activity in the garden, and they design the obstacle course, they lay it out, and then they take turns in doing it. They keep a scoreboard, and then they end the activity by looking at the scoreboard and figuring out who won, or something like that. And that activity might last kind of 15 minutes. And then the practitioner would take another group of children and do the activity again. And the children would be there from the beginning, the introduction, the first part of the activity, the main activity, conclude the activity, and then they go to play. That could be in the classroom. For example, it could be a literacy-based activity. It could be a math-based activity. It could be an activity during classroom rotation time. If the class is organised into colour groups or subgroups, such as red, blue, green and yellow group, it might be that one of the practitioners called the yellow group for their focused activity time, and it's a 15-20 minute focused activity time on shapes. Has a beginning, a middle and an end. All of the yellow group are there throughout the activity. The activity concludes and off they go. And then the practitioner may do that activity again the next day with the green group, and the next day with the red group, etc. It might be a painting or a craft activity where it lasts for a specific amount of time. It's introduced. The activity happens, it concludes, and then off the children go. This is what we call a set time activity. It's adult-led, it's delivered by the adult. The adult sets the pace, the adult sets the content, the adult moves the children on to the next part, and children stay from the beginning of the activity to the end of the activity, and it's for a set period of time. So let's call those set time activities. The other type of activities are what we call flow in, flow out, or more open-ended activities. And these are still adult-led activities, but the children can come and join the activity and can leave the activity at their own time and their own pace. So for an example, an adult might be doing a painting activity where they are using cars to put the cars through trays of paint and then across paper or down ramps with paper on, and then the conclusion of the activity may be cutting out the part that the child's done, putting their name on it and hanging it up. And there is definitely a sequence to that. The child that comes has to choose the colour paint, choose the trade, choose the vehicle. There'll be some discussion about that with the staff. They'll do the activity. That's what the activity is at the painting table today. It's an adult-led activity based on cars through the paint. It's not a free paint table. That might be on the table behind where children can just come and paint. But this is an adult-led activity. And that adult-led activity might last for an hour, maybe 40 minutes, maybe an hour and a half. And children, throughout that period, there'll be other things going on in the room, and throughout that period the children can come and join the activity, partake in that activity for however long they want, and then move on, and other children come in and out. So it's a flow in, flow out. Some children might be at that activity just for 5 or 6 minutes, others may be there for 20 or 30 minutes, for example. And depending on how your early years setting is organised, it may be that they can revisit that flow in, flow out adult-led activity multiple times during that hour or that hour and a half while that activity is on offer. Another example might be an adult leading an activity on a carpet where children can flow in, flow out, and it's a fine motor activity of beading and making things, and it's with beads, and the adult has different patterns on cards and are supporting children to make the different beaded necklaces using different patterns or sequences, and they differentiate that to find more difficult or challenging patterns for those that need extend and challenge, and more simple patterns for those that would need more support in doing that. So there's many examples. And the obstacle course example, of course, there could be an adult-led activity in the garden that's an obstacle course that isn't start, middle and end with all the group at the same time, but an adult has set up an obstacle course. It's to go round in a certain way to collect things as you go around the obstacle course, and children come take part in it, but it's adult led. The adult is leading that activity and leading them through. Of course, you could also have an obstacle course set up that's an adult initiated rather than adult led, where the adults set that up, but then the children are left to play and engage with that in whatever way they want to and how they want to, and the adult floats in and floats out just to provide support, guidance and nurturing through that activity. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about an activity that is an adult-led activity, but children can flow in and flow out of the activity at any point when that activity is running. So to summarize, these are the two types of activities that we're talking about. The set time activity, where the whole group, whether it's a whole class or a small group, do a start, middle and end, and they're in that activity for the whole time that activity is running, whether it's 5 minutes, 25 minutes, etc. And they do the whole activity. And then there's the flow in, flow out, where children join the activity at any point and leave at any point. Still adult led, still adult directed.